Have you ever really thought about the journey your data takes? I mean, every single second, you send a text, you make a video call, and in that instant, a message travels from your own personal space to, well, potentially anywhere on the planet. So let's dive in and map out exactly how that digital magic really happens.
It just feels so instantaneous, right? You tap your screen and boom, it's gone. But behind that one simple tap, there's this incredibly complex and honestly really elegant system at work. In this explainer, we're going to pull back that curtain.
Right, so to understand the whole massive picture, we've got to start small. We're going to begin with the absolute fundamentals, what it takes to send any piece of digital info from point A to point B.
At its heart, it's actually pretty simple. Data communication is just two devices talking to each other. That could be your phone talking to your Wi-Fi router, or it could be two huge data centers on opposite sides of the world. It doesn't matter. This idea is the core concept. It's a fundamental building block for literally everything else we're about to talk about. Okay, so for this communication to actually work, you need these 5 key ingredients. The easiest way to think about it is like sending an old school physical letter. You're the sender. The letter you wrote, that's the message. The postal service, the trucks and planes that carry it, that's the medium. Your friend, obviously, is the receiver. And the protocol? Well, that's the set of rules you have to follow, like writing the address correctly and sticking on a stamp. It's what makes sure the letter actually gets where it's supposed to go. So we get the basics of a one-to-one conversation. But how do we scale that up to the billions of devices we're all using every single day? Well, the answer is networks. So let's zoom out a bit and see how these connections build on each other. We're going to start at the smallest possible scale, the personal area network, or a PAN. You can just think of this as your personal tech bubble. It's that invisible string connecting your phone to your headphones or your laptop to your wireless mouse. It's a tiny network built just for you. Okay, now let's zoom out to the next level, the local area network, or LAN. This is probably the one you're most familiar with. It's your home Wi-Fi network. It's the network at your office or at school. It connects all the devices in one specific area, letting them all talk to each other and share stuff. And here's a perfect look at a classic LAN setup. You see all these different computers, and they're all hooked up to a central hub. This simple connection is what lets them do things they could never do alone, like letting everyone in the office share one single printer or letting a team access the same files. That idea of sharing resources, that's the real magic of a LAN. And now for the final zoom out. When you start connecting all of those individual LANs together across cities, across countries, across whole continents, you get a wide area network, or a WAN. And the biggest, most famous WAN of them all? Yep, the internet. That's really all the internet is when you get down to it, just a gigantic global network of other networks. So why do we bother with all this? Well, the benefits are pretty much everywhere in our modern lives. From sharing a photo with a friend, to streaming a movie, to working from home. Computer networks are what make all of it possible. Okay, so we've got networks of all sizes, connecting billions and billions of devices. But this brings up a really big question. How does it all work? How do they all speak the same language? I mean, really think about it. You might have an iPhone from Apple, a laptop running Windows from Microsoft, and a smart TV from Samsung, all trying to talk to a server that's run by Google. How on earth is it possible that they all understand each other perfectly? What stops it from just being total chaos? The answer comes down to one simple but incredibly powerful word: standards. This is the invisible glue that holds our entire digital world together. Just think of standards as the universal rulebook for all of technology. They're these pre-agreed upon instructions that every single manufacturer follows. It's the reason a phone made by one company in Korea can talk seamlessly to a server made by a rival company in California. Without standards, it would just be a mess. Nothing would work with anything else. And what's really interesting is how we get these rules. Some are called de facto standards. That's just Latin for by fact. It basically means they become the standard just because, everyone starts using them. Remember the format war between Blu-ray and HD DVD? That was a fight to become the de facto standard, and Blu-ray won. Others are de jure, or by law. This is where an official group sits down and creates a formal rule, like the specific frequencies your Wi-Fi is allowed to use. You really need both to keep the digital world running. Which of course leads us to our final question. If these standards are so critical, who are the people actually writing this global rulebook? So let's meet some of the guardians of the internet. For the most part, these are nonprofit groups full of engineers and scientists. For example, the IEEE, that's IEEE, we can thank them for the Wi-Fi standards we use every day. The IETF, or the Internet Engineering Task Force, they set the core rules for how data actually travels online. And then you have the ISO, which works on a huge range of standards to make sure everything from software to shipping containers is compatible around the world. These folks are truly the unsung heroes of our connected world.
So, there you have it. From that one simple click to a global conversation, the journey of your data is a story of scaling up. From a personal network to a local one, all the way to the World Wide Web. And every single bit of it is made possible by the quiet, tireless work of creating and maintaining standards.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought. We've seen who makes the rules today, but as our world gets more and more connected, as technology weaves itself into every part of our lives, who should be writing the rulebook for our shared digital future? It's a question that's getting more and more important every single day.